All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. E from today's date. It's September 21st, 2021. I'm saying Hayya Yashim Yeshua HaMashiach Baruch Atah Adonai. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk Tuesdays, episode 5, as a matter of fact. Of course, there's never a shortage of things to talk about with so much going on in the world today and in the news. One of the things I'd like to talk about is something that's very sensitive, not just in society, but just among our own people, and that's race. Okay, there's been a whole lot of talk about this whole critical race theory being taught in school, not being taught in school. There's positions for and against it, whatever the case may be. And, I came across a clip. It was on Instagram, right? And it was this young Dominican sister, right? And she was basically saying how, she's not black. And, which that's the standpoint from a lot of Dominicans. They refuse to be called black. Now, there was this African sister giving commentary in the clip, and I'm going to show it to you guys. You guys listen to it, and then I'm going to come back and give you my commentary. And she was just basically, answering her, but appearing to be very agitated and annoyed at the young sister's assertion that she was not quote unquote black. Well, before I play the clip and go into it, let me just say real quick as a pretext to the context of this episode. Many of you, I don't think you really realize black. First of all, from my personal standpoint, those of you that know what I look like know that my complexion is nowhere near the color black. Okay, black is a color. Okay, black is not a race. Black is not a nationality. Okay, black was used by the oppressors of our people to denote what they looked like, what the complexion of their skin was. Okay, it's not a respectful term. Our people, a lot of us have grown to be proud to be quote unquote black, when in essence, if you really look at it, black is not anything to be proud of. Okay, black is a color. I look nothing like the color black. Now, are there people in my family that look close to the color black? Yeah, definitely, right? But that's not the case with all of us, right? And that's my point. Do I get offended being called black? No, I don't. But I also understand why some people would and probably should take offense to being called black. We've moved beyond just being called a color, especially to the woke brothers and sisters that know that we are Israelites. Okay, we are the only group of people that aren't referred to as by the nation that we come from. They'll say African American, but that's not really accurate, and you guys know where I'm coming from with that, right? So in turn, a lot of us will say, well, I'm proud to be black. Well, we've accepted that term as, I guess, as a term to be proud of, whatever case may be. There were songs made about it, back in the day. James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm black and I'm proud, right? All these different things, right? But I want to look at this a little more critically, because when we talk about race, there's a color complex among Negroes, among our people that rages on. We have to get the whole critical debate theory straight amongst ourselves before we can talk about fighting to try to get it taught in schools. I mean, what are we teaching actually, right? What are we teaching? What are we teaching our children, right? Because from my position and from my standpoint now, the original most part of where my ancestors came from, we all know now is Northeast Africa or Israel. So therefore we would be called Israelites, as every other dark nation in Africa is referred to by their nation. Okay, the term black, that actually stripped us of our dignity. That stripped us of our nationality. That stripped us of our nation. Black is really, when you look at it, it's really not a term to be proud of, because that's what the oppressors used to denote our color or denote what we look like. Had nothing to do with our race or had nothing to do with where we came from. So why we've adopted that term as a term of to be proud of is beyond me. But I mean, it is what it is, right? So let me let you guys check out the clip, okay, and then I'm gonna come back and give you my commentary.
They try to say I'm black too. I am not black, honey. I'm not black, I'm just Dominican. I am not mixed. If I was mixed, bro, my parents, either one of them would be so-called black, they want to call it I'm black. One of them would be black, one of them would be Dominican. Boom, I'm black and Dominican. No, shorty. What people be doing is they try to get like information from the back time, the old days, and try to say Dominicans came from this piece of shit, so that makes you black.
Look at this nonsensical, ignorant nincompoop. You don't want to get information from the back times, the old times. Do you mean history? You mean you can control or delete the past? How? Santo Domingo, the capital city of DR, was the first city in all of the Americas to import slaves from where? Africa. So essentially, what does that mean? Well, it means that, you're blackity black, blackity black, black. Foolish goats.
Okay, yeah, there's a couple different things, about that clip. First of all, it's difficult to speak, about someone's heart or what they have or feel in their heart about something, right? Because you never really know what's in the hearts of men. But from listening to the young lady speak, it appears as though she's coming from a perspective of denying her African heritage, not about just the color black. Okay, what I explained in the intro of the lesson was based on black not being an honorable thing to be called anyway. However, from listening to what this young lady, I gather from her that basically it's not the color black so much that she has a problem with, is the fact that being annotated with African, in essence, her African quote unquote heritage. Now, we all know here, on this channel that, why we have a problem or an issue with being referred to as quote unquote African, right? I've had several lessons on this. Okay, it's not about denying our quote-unquote heritage, right? It's about being denied our right for being called and referred to by our rightful nation, as every other black race in Africa is normally referred by. Now, are some nations in Africa referred to as Africans? Yeah, sure. However, from the standpoint of referring to a Negro as African, just putting us all in a box, no, that's not right, and that's not honorable. So it's two different perspectives. Right, from what I just said, I totally understand and get why someone would take offense, especially an Israelite, to just being referred to as African as a way to take away our true nationality or where we truly come from, because that's what it really boils down to. Where in Africa did we come from? Where in Africa did Negroes come from? That is the question, right? Forget what Shakespeare was talking about. No, seriously. So from that perspective, yeah, I totally get it, right? But from what the young lady was saying, I think she's coming from and I hate to call anyone ignorant, but she isn't really, clearly whoever was raising her kind of taught her this mentality. Because normally young people like that, they don't grow up. They have to be taught something, right? Like it has to be something that's generally held within their family, within their circle, whatever the case may be. Because let's face it, as young children, we're impressionable. We are taught things. Young kids, like especially white kids, are taught hate. Kids are not born hating anyone. Kids are not born ignorant. Kids are born with their minds and brains totally unformed, and we as adults have to do what? We have to teach them. We have to form those brains. We have to form those minds, right? With information. So it appears that from where this young lady is coming from, that people in her family obviously feel this way, and this is what they've taught her. This is what she actually believes, although she could not articulate why she really believes this. I gather from what she said that her standpoint is basically denouncing her quote unquote African heritage, and that's something totally different. I don't see how any person in the Dominican Republic, in Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, all the Negro influenced provinces that slaves were dropped off. I don't see how any one of them could deny, quote unquote, their African heritage, right? Because remember, we're not dealing with the fact they don't know nothing about them being Israelites. So I have to deal with it from the standpoint of them denying their African heritage, because that's what they're doing from their standpoint. Okay, we can't even deal with the whole Israelite thing, because I can't even come from that standpoint, because that falls to a small percentage of us. So I can't deal with it from that standpoint. If you guys understand what I'm saying, right? So I think that's kind of sad, man. I mean, because there's this little meme being floated around. I think I might have used it once. Said something to the effect of the only difference between a Dominican, a Puerto Rican, and an African American is a boat stop. And that essentially speaks to the slaves being dropped off all over the transatlantic, being the transatlantic slave trade, which is true. Like, we all speak the language of our colonizers. Okay, the original inhabitants of Puerto Rico did not speak Spanish. That is the language of their colonizers, the Spaniards, right? We did not speak English where we come from. We speak English because at the time, British was in control of America, and so we speak English because the British speak English, and at the time they were the colonizers of the United States before the whole Declaration of Independence. The whole you guys know the history, right? So we all speak the language of our colonizers. Okay. Now, far be it from me to tell anyone what they should and shouldn't be proud of, but my thing is, if you want to be proud of something, at least know what you're being proud of. Like, know the history of stuff. Don't just adopt something, right? Like, a lot of the brothers and sisters in the Dominican Republic, and I mean, like I said, I guess it's just a matter of just, information being passed on incorrectly, or whatever the case may be. I saw a documentary not too long ago where they said that in Dominican Republic, a lot of them considered the motherland for them Spain. And I'm like, wow, but you look, and it's like 90% of the people walking around, I won't say 90, but a good percentage of them, they all look pretty much like black people. Some of them darker than others, some lighter, but I mean, they look no different than our families, right? We have dark-skinned people in our family, light skin, red, yellow, all these different distinctions of colors of black that we have. They're no different, right? But to them, they put this whole thing on the whiteness of their ancestry, or the Spanish, the Spain part of their ancestry. It's like they don't want to have nothing to do with the African part. So I don't think it's about just the color black. I think it's about them actually denying their African ancestry, which I think is just ridiculous, but I understand, from both perspectives. To kind of piggyback of what I said in the intro of the episode, I personally don't have a problem, being called black, or even African American. I mean, because those terms are what's been accepted for our people over hundreds of years, right? So just because a small percentage of us are quote unquote woke and we know who we really are, yada yada yada, we can't expect the same of the majority of people. So I get it. I don't have a problem being called Negro, right? Like it's cool. I don't let terms get to me or define who I know myself to be, whatever the case. As long as it's not blatantly disrespectful, it's cool. But I think that how we talking about critical race theory. Well, I mean, hell, we need to start with ourselves, because we all speak the language of our colonizers. They have us thinking that we're all kind of different races of people, and we're not. We are all from the same seed. We all come from those quote unquote Africans off those slave ships during the transatlantic slave trade, which means we are all related. Okay. And this is a nice segue going into the next segment, which is what they're doing to the so-called migrant Haitians that found themselves at our border, and how they're rounding them up and sending them back to Haiti. But yet the people from Afghanistan, they welcome them in. They welcome all the other migrants, the so-called people in this country, no problem. But when they look like me and you, it's an issue. I mean, and how they were treating those Haitian brothers and sisters at the border. I mean, I couldn't even believe it, man. It's just like I shake my head so much, man. I think I'm gonna break my freaking neck one day. I mean, stuff that I read and see through the news. But that's a nice segue into that. And but I wanted to kind of talk about and see what you guys think about this whole thing about Dominicans not calling themselves considering themselves black, or basically denouncing not just their blackness, quote unquote, but their African heritage. It's like they don't want to have nothing to do with the fact that they descended from Africa. I don't know why. Like, that's crazy to me. That is just crazy. But y'all tell me what y'all think about that and about that concept, because we all know that race is very sensitive, and you know, I try not to quote unquote. I don't debate anything, but everyone has unique perspectives on it, and I get it. But I'm not going to denounce you for however you feel. I mean, you know, you feel what you feel. You know, I feel what I feel. I'm a grown ass man. You know, no one's going to tell me how I should feel about whatever, right? And vice versa. I feel the same way. However you feel, I respect it, because that's your feelings, right? Far be it for me to tell you how to feel, all right? You have your reasons for feeling how you do, and I have mine. So, you know, it's not about, you know, debating you with how and what you feel and why. You know, your opinion is your opinion. It's just that we all have them, right? And we're not all going to agree. And y'all know me, I'm cool with that, you know, but I just want to know how y'all feel and y'all think about those, not just the Dominicans, but other Negro influenced people who want to denounce their African ancestry or don't consider themselves not just black, but basically they don't consider themselves, you know, African. They don't want to have nothing to do with their African heritage. That's what I gather. You know, you guys tell me what you thought about that clip, and I'll respond. All right, going into the next segment. Many of you would say, you know, we know and see how they treat us, you know, and as blacks that were born and raised in this country. So why should we be surprised at them treating, you know, black people not from here with any semblance of dignity, right? And we would be right, and you would be right, you know. But it's truly sad to know that what these Haitian brothers and sisters are going through, to the point where, I mean, their country is just literally is falling apart. And we're basically telling them, you know, they're not welcome here. You know, if you're Mexican, you know, Trump kind of, he kind of turned that back, said they had to wait in Mexico for their asylum, which I think is messed up. But anyway, before I even get too far, let me go and deal with this this situation at the border here with the Haitian brothers and sisters. It says a video footage showed Border Patrol cracking whips at Haitian migrants near the U.S.-Mexico border. Thousands of Haitian migrants have sought to enter the U.S. as their country faces endemic poverty and violence on top of political turmoil. Haiti's president was assassinated in July, and an earthquake killed over 2,000 in the country last month. Democratic Rep. Ilhan Omar of Minnesota on Monday said video footage of Border Patrol agents on horseback whipping Haitian migrants attempting to cross the U.S.-Mexico border showed human rights abuses. And she's not even quote-unquote black, and why she's the one speaking out is beyond me. But she goes on to say that these are human rights abuses, plain and simple, cruel, inhumane, and a violation of domestic and international law, Omar said in a tweet. This needs a course correction and the issuance of a clear directive on how to humanly process asylum seekers at our border. The incident occurred over the weekend near Del Rio, Texas, as Haitian migrants sought to wade across the Rio Grande. Video footage from Al Jazeera showed agents on horseback using their reins as whips. Like, are you even serious, man? As they charged the migrants and sought to push them back, with one agent yelling, quote, "This is why your country's shit, because you use your women for this," end quote. U.S. Customs and Border Protection did not immediately respond to requests for comments from an insider. And it says many people have fled Haiti, which has faced myriad challenges for years in recent months as the embattled country struggles with ongoing violence, poverty, and political strife. Haiti has had a particularly chaotic year due to the political turmoil brought on by the July assassination of President Jovenel Moise, which was closely followed by a devastating earthquake in August that killed over 2,000 people. Thousands of migrants have gathered in a makeshift camp under a bridge in Del Rio. Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas traveled to Del Rio on Monday as local and federal officials moved to deport or relocate the migrants to detention centers. We have seen a significant influx of Haitian migrants in Del Rio, Texas, but we are surging resources, and at DHS Gov is taking a multi-pronged approach to this, Mayorkas said in tweets on Sunday. We've surged approximately 600 agents so that we can gain complete control. We are moving people rapidly to other processing centers to ensure safety and security. We have sent a very clear message early on, in light of the fact that we are in the midst of a pandemic, that the border is not open and people should not take the perilous journey here, Mayorkas said. Deportation flights back to Haiti began Sunday. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz, during a press conference on Sunday, said 3,300 migrants had been relocated in the past few days. So yeah, they're sending them back to a place I just feel sad and sorry for them, man. Those are our people. Yeah, they're Haitian, they're in Haiti, they're in a different country, whatever. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I have compassion. Those are our people, man. It's just, I just think it sucks, man, and it's sad. Like, do you guys know, like, African, like the black countries are the only countries where you don't need you have to have a what do you call it? Not a passport, but a visa to travel to the United States. None of the European countries people need visas to travel here. Only the African ones, and I think some of a lot of the Middle Eastern ones. Why? Because those are the people they consider their enemy or whatever, and just not welcomed here, and that and Trump was very vocal about that, how he felt. He didn't try to hide it, right? But I just I pray that that God has mercy on them and they get some type of help, man. Our people need help, man. What are they going to do? They're sending them back to a place they left because it's so messed up, man. It's just, I pray a miracle, for them. I pray that, they get some help that they need. Those are our people, man, and just to see the conditions that they're in, wading through water they got little kids, man. Come on, man. Y'all even serious right now? Right? And so, I wanted to share that with you all, so you guys can kind of know what's going on, because I know some of you don't really be up on the news like that or whatever, but that's been dominating the headlines as of late, and they sending them back to a place that they left because it was so messed up. They're trying to find a better position for themselves and their family. And our people they have nowhere to go, man. It's just so sad, man. So sad. So y'all pray for our Haitian brothers and sisters, man. You pray that the Most High, moves on their behalf, something, some good fortune happens to them really to help bring them up. Because they need it, man. When you're talking no food, if you don't have no money, how you gonna eat? When you don't have no food and no money, what is that gonna lead to? Savagery, right? People stealing, people doing just unthinkable things to try to survive. Does that sound familiar? Because our people went through the same thing, man. And back in the day with the Roman invasion of Jerusalem, So I just pray that they aren't reduced to that, and the Most High just sends a blessing their way, some kind of way, somehow. I just wish there was something I could do to help them directly. I don't mean just making a donation. I mean something that I notice getting to the people that's helping them. I mean, get shelter and food and clean water, diapers and milk for the babies. You know, those are our people, man. How can you not have compassion for our people? So anyway, on that note, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this Real Talk Tour, this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, got something from it. You know, so until next time, this is Dr. Ephraim signing off. Saying hi by Yeshem Yeshua HaMashiach Puruka Tu Adonai. Shalom, elect.